Hello everyone, I'm Arindam Ghosh. As I'm already introduced myself in some of my previous videos, that I'm an assistant professor in the Department of English, Krishna Chandra College, Hetampur, Birbhum. And today I will teach my 4th semester students Christina Georgina Rossetti's Goblin Market. I will introduce you to the text and then I'll move into the background at first, then I will introduce you to the text. I will have a discussion with you regarding a detailed textual analysis of the text. But let me at first contextualize this text with the Victorian background. So let's just begin. Hope you are all fine and good in this time of crisis of COVID-19. Please stay at home, stay safe and study well, do prepare well for the examination. So Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market is in your 4th semester syllabus. It is in the CC 10, that is 19th century British literature. I have titled my presentation as Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market, Text and Context. At first I will discuss with you regarding the context of Goblin Market, then I will move into the textual analysis of this particular text. So Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market was published in the year 1862, almost in the mid-Victorian time. So basically, Victorian literature refers to the literature written during the reign of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria reigned England from 1837 down to 1901. This is the particular period in which Queen Victoria reigns throughout England, and hence it is known as the Victorian era. This particular period is also known as the period of Victorian literature. It was preceded by the Romanticism, the age of Romantic literature, specifically beginning from 1798 down to 1837, and it was followed by the Edwardian era. This is a famous painting of Queen Victoria, Prince Albert and their children, denoting a sort of idealized family. So all forms of British literature, English literature written in England in this particular period from 1837 to 1901, known as Victorian literature. This is Queen Victoria. She was born on 1819 and died in 1901. Her period begins, her reign begins around 1837 and ends in 1901. And she had the longest reign, she's been the longest reign queen in the British history. And she became queen only at the age of 18. And her period is generally known as a very economically prosperous period in England. She maintained a sense of dignity and decorum that restored the average person's high opinion of the monarchy after a series of very horrible and ineffective leaders. And from around 1850, England emerged itself as a very economically prosperous, powerful and robust nation all across the Europe. So her reign is known as the embodiment of moral absolutism. এমন একটা পিরিয়ড যেখানে মরালি ইংল্যান্ড অনেকটা এগিয়ে গিয়েছিল বলে অনেকে মনে করে। তিনি এথিক্যালি বিভিন্ন ধরনের প্র্যাকটিসের দিকে অনেকে নজর দিয়েছিলেন। She particularly created various forms of reformations inside the administration. বিভিন্ন ধরনের সংস্কার এনেছিলেন, especially at her time, at her era, the British East India Company withdrew its all powers from India. And from 1857, after the Sepoy Mutiny, there appears a direct control of the British government over various other colonized territories throughout the entire world. So Queen Victoria's period is generally known as the period of economic prosperity, abolition of all forms of slavery. It is known as a period full of moral absolutism, and at the same time it is generally known also as a period of conflict, as a period of crisis, a conflict between the religion and science, between democracy and aristocracy, between individualism and collectivism, between optimism and pessimism, and hence this particular standpoint of the Victorian period is known as the Victorian compromise. ভিক্টোরিয়ান অনেক ক্ষেত্রেই এই দু নৌকোয় পা দিয়ে চলার একটা চেষ্টা করতো ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ড আমরা দেখতে পাই, and hence this particular standpoint, this particular ideal of the Victorian period is known as the Victorian compromise. Optimism and pessimism, science and religion, very important events occurred at this particular period. We'll discuss it later on. Texts like for example Charles Darwin's Origin on the Species, published during this time in the year 1859, which for the first time says that man has been originated from a monkey, and hence there appears a direct conflict between the ecclesiastical vision of the man, between the biblical and the vision of the man propounded by the church and that propounded by the science. So a বিরাট যে conflict between the religion and the science, ধর্ম এবং বিজ্ঞানের মধ্যে যে বিরাট বড় যুদ্ধ around 1859 শুরু হয়, সেই যুদ্ধটা পুরোটা ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ড ধরে চলেছিল। I am very much tempted in quoting Matthew Arnold's famous poem, wandering between the two worlds, one dead and the other powerless to be born, I stand forlorn. Wandering between the two worlds, দুটো পৃথিবীর মাঝখানে দাঁড়িয়ে, one dead and the other powerless to be born, একটা মৃত এবং আরেকটা জন্মাতেই পাচ্ছে না, I stand forlorn, আমি একাকী দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছি। এই যে isolation and alienation, modern alienation, modern feeling of the alienation which is essentially modernist in nature, সেটাই ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ড থেকে প্রথম পোয়েট, আর্টিস্ট এবং অন্যান্যরা ফিল করতে আরম্ভ করে। রবার্ট ব্রাউনিং এর কবিতার মধ্যে আমরা এই ভয়ঙ্কর কনফ্লিক্ট, দ্বন্দ্ব আমরা দেখতে পাই। ভিক্টোরিয়ান লিটারেরি পিরিয়ড ইজ ক্যারেক্টারাইজড বাই দিস ফর্ম অফ কনফ্লিক্ট, ক্যারেক্টারাইজড বাই দিস ফর্ম অফ কম্প্রোমাইজ। সো এই ব্যাপারটা কিন্তু ভিক্টোরিয়ান লিটারেচারের একটা এসেনশিয়াল ট্রেট, এই দ্বন্দ্বের ব্যাপারটা। ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ড আরও অনেক ধরনের ফিচার রয়েছে, এটা আমরা পরবর্তীকালে পড়তে জানতে পারবো। তার মধ্যে একটা বিরাট ব্যাপার হচ্ছে অন দ্য এমফ্যাসিস অন দ্য মরালিটি। মরালিটি মিনস অন দ্য এথিক্স, কোনটা দ্য সেন্স অফ রাইট অ্যান্ড দ্য রং, কোনটা ঠিক কোনটা ভুল, নারীদের কোনটা করা উচিত কোনটা করা উচিত নয়, হোয়াট আর দ্য বাউন্ডারিজ আ ওম্যান ক্যান ডু, কোন জায়গাতে গিয়ে তার বাউন্ডারিটা, তার যে একটা পার্টিকুলার মানে জায়গাতে গিয়ে তার যে সীমারেখাটা শেষ হবে, সেটা কোন জায়গাতে গিয়ে শেষ হবে একটা ওম্যানের, সেইটা ঠিক করে দেওয়া। এটাই এই এসেনশিয়াল পেট্রিয়ার্কাল ভিউ অফ দ্য মরালিটি, পুরুষতন্ত্রের যে মরালিটি সম্পর্কে ধারণা সেখান থেকেই বেরোচ্ছে। তো সেই জায়গা থেকে ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ড কিন্তু অনেক ধরনের রেস্ট্রিকশন শুরু করে। আমরা জানি the period that represses much, the period that propounds restriction much, on that period also the volcanic eruption of immorality also occurs. This is also a period of breaking the boundaries. This is also a period where highest number of murders, highest number of antisocial activities also occurred, highest number of publication of pornographies also occurred during this Victorian period. Murderers like Jack the Ripper for the first time appeared, যাকে একজন বিখ্যাত সিরিয়াল কিলার বলা হয়। সো যে পিরিয়ড অনেক বেশি করে মরাল রিপ্রেশনের কথা বলে, সেই পিরিয়ডে এই রিপ্রেশনের বাউন্ডারি ভেঙে গিয়েও অনেক ধরনের ইনসিডেন্ট ঘটে, সেটা আমরা এই ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডে বুঝতে পারবো। সো লেট আস অ্যাট ফার্স্ট explore the various historical and social background of the period. What are the essential characteristic important phenomena that occurred during this particular period? The first is the historical and the social background of the Victorian period. So let us start this particular phenomena. A huge growth in population occurred during this time. So during the Victoria's reign, the population of England almost doubled from 14 million to 32 million. And due to the extreme growth in the population, also improvements in technology also happened. As I am saying, the Victorian period is a conflict between the science and religion. The Victorian era actually slightly overlaps with the period of the Industrial Revolution, Industrial Revolution occurred in England around 1760s, and the Victorian period begins around 1837. So the influence of Industrial Revolution, the great migration of the rural people into the urban areas of England like London, these things were very common in the Victorian era. So the improvements in technology also offered a lot of opportunities for the people in England, but at the same time it also shows a major upheaval in regards to how people lived their lives and interacted to the world. The Industrial Revolution leads actually to a great exploitation on the part of those who are industrial classes, those who are bourgeois, of the proletariats. যারা সর্বহারা তাদেরকে একটা ভয়ঙ্কর যে এক্সপ্লয়টেশনের দিকে ঠেলে দেয় ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল রেভলিউশন। According to the Marxist theory, a bourgeois is a person, those who controls the various forces of production, the means of production like land, labor, capital and organization, and the proletariat are those who are only being exploited in an industrial arena, and hence they are known as proletariat, that is those who don't have control over the means of production, যাকে বাংলায় বলা হয় সর্বহারা। At the same time, as I was saying, that the conflict between religion and science happened during this Victorian period. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution published in this time, and the things were radically changing in regarding the idea of scientific belief and religion, etc. And most notably, a lot of people were distancing themselves from the church. The wave of skepticism got very much popularized in England during this time, and at the same time poor conditions for the working class emerged in this time. The Industrial Revolution led to the distance between the haves and those who are have-nots, so at a really very high rate. And a lot of people, especially those who are artists and writers, they felt very much obligated to speak out against what they believe to be societal injustices. So novels become published regarding the societal injustices, regarding various forms of exploitation. But remember that Victorian period is the age of the fiction, just like 18th century. A lot of great fiction writers like William Makepeace Thackeray, like Charles Darwin, they emerged into the scene, and they were some of the most popular Victorian writers. And fiction became very much popularized. These fictions were published in various magazines and other sorts of medium, and the fiction is actually perhaps the most popular genre of English literature during the Victorian time. So let us move into the next slide. As I was saying, that enormous changes occurred in political and social life in England in this time. Due to scientific and technical innovations, the Industrial Revolution occurred, and also a host of other very important movements, very important historical phenomena occurred this time. What are they? The emergence of modern nationalism, a very important phenomena. For example, the struggle for independence in India occurred during this time. The struggle of independence in Algeria during this time. গোটা পৃথিবী জুড়ে স্বাধীনতা যুদ্ধ এই সময় শুরু হচ্ছে। And the European colonization of the much of the Africa, the scramble for Africa occurred during this time. গোটা আফ্রিকা এই ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডে colonized হচ্ছে। The entire Middle East and the Far East changed the most of the Europe. The entire cartographical definition, ম্যাপের দিক থেকে, টেরিটরির দিক থেকে ইউরোপের যে ডেফিনেশন সেটা পাল্টাচ্ছে। ইউরোপের বহু কান্ট্রি, বি ইট ফ্রান্স, বি ইট বেলজিয়াম, বি ইট জার্মানি, বি ইট ইংল্যান্ড, অফকোর্স, তারা পৃথিবীর অন্যান্য জায়গাতে তাদের কলোনাইজেশনের স্ট্রেন্থ বাড়াচ্ছে। কলোনাইজেশনের স্ট্রেন্থ বাড়াচ্ছে মানেই তাদের ইকোনমিক প্রসপেরিটি, ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল প্রসপেরিটি হচ্ছে। অ্যাট দ্য সেম টাইম ইকোনমিক প্রসপেরিটির সঙ্গে সঙ্গে জিনিসটা ঘটছে ক্রাইসিস রিগার্ডিং দ্য কনফ্লিক্ট বিটুইন রিলিজিয়াস অ্যান্ড সায়েন্স, অপটিমিজম অ্যান্ড পেসিমিজম, যেটা রবার্ট ব্রাউনিংয়ের কবিতার মধ্যে আমরা ভয়ঙ্করভাবে দেখতে পাই। তো সেই যে এক ধরনের আশাবাদ এবং দুরাশাবাদ, তার মধ্যে যে দ্বন্দ্ব ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডেই প্রথম ঘটছে, অ্যান্ড at the same time far-reaching new ideas created greatest outpouring of literary production the world has ever seen, regarding magazine and through various other mediums. various other media, this form of far-reaching democratization of the ideas also occurred during this time. As I was saying, that Victorian morality became a very important part and parcel of the Victorian life, because contemporary historians have generally come to regard the Victorian era as a time of many conflicts, such as the widespread cultivation of an outward appearance of dignity and restraint, together with serious debates about exactly how new morality should be implemented. The international slave trade was abolished during this time, and many critics say that in spite of the abolition of, in spite of the of celebrating various human rights and other things, Victorian period is also an age of great repression. But we can say that the international slave trade was officially abolished. This ban was enforced by the Royal Navy. Slavery was ended in all the British colonies. Child labor was ended in the British factories, and a long debate ensued regarding whether prostitution should be totally abolished or tightly regulated. The Reform Bill also published during this time. The right regarding the property, right regarding the inheriting of the property of the women. Womenরা তার আগে অবধি নারীরা কোনোদিন কোনো সম্পত্তির অধিকারী পেত না, যেটা নিয়ে ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডের একটা মেজর মোস্ট অংশতে, ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডের মেজর মোস্ট নভেলগুলো, একটা বড় অংশের নভেল এই নিয়েই যে প্রপার্টি ইনহেরিট করতে পারবে কি পারবে না। Romantic novel like Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is about inheriting the property. Jane Eyre, beat Moll Flanders, womenরা রাইট টু প্রপার্টি ছিল না। এর ফলে এই সম্পত্তির অধিকার পাবে কি পাবে না তাই নিয়ে যে দীর্ঘ লড়াই, সেটাও এই ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডেই শুরু হয়েছিল। And of course, homosexuality remained illegal. So, the notion of the Victorian morality actually creates a politics of exclusion. What is politics of exclusion? যে কাকে আমি ইনক্লুড করবো এবং কাকে আমি এক্সক্লুড করবো সেটা আমি ঠিক করে দিচ্ছি, সেটা সোসাইটি অ্যান্ড গভর্নমেন্ট অ্যান্ড এক্সিকিউটিভ অ্যান্ড দ্য অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটিভ অথরিটিস, দে আর ডিসাইডিং অ্যাবাউট দিস থিংস. So, the notion of the Victorian morality is the morality that is propounded by those who are powerful in the society, by those who belong to the aristocracy of the society. তারাই propound করবে কোনটা moral নয়. So that is the notion of the Victorian morality. This is the picture showing a mutilated body of a woman, mutilated by George the Ripper, okay, who is a famous murderer, Jack the Ripper. Sorry. So these are some of the famous historical events. It is a period of growth, change, and domestic reform. As I've said, lives of the working class people improved. Reform Bill of 1832, a very important bill. Growing literacy because of the compulsory education. Prosperous times from 1848 to 1870. But at the same time, there was existence of traditional gender roles. That is the invention of the notion of the masculinity and femininity. Kara kara masculine and kara kara feminine. What are the various activities of a man and what are the various activities of a woman? এটা এই পিরিয়ডই প্রথম ডিসাইড করে দেওয়া হয়। তো যার ইনফ্লুয়েন্স কিন্তু লিটারেচারের মধ্যেও খুব ভয়ঙ্করভাবে পড়েছিল। সো অ্যাজ আই ডিসকাস দ্য ভেরিয়াস ইনফ্লুয়েন্স অফ দ্য গ্রোথ অফ দ্য ব্রিটিশ এম্পায়ার. The empire included Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, Singapore. It expanded, and of course, industrial revolution. So, what are the various common themes of the Victorian period that we can say? First is the critique of the industrialization, critique of the deterioration of the rural lifestyle, because most people emigrated to the urban lifestyle. Celebration of the past, which appeared in Lord Tennyson's writings, the writings of also Robert Browning, celebration of the medieval chivalry, and of course conflicts between various classes, the poor classes and the rich classes, and the talking about women's rights emerged during this time. Novel become a very important genre during this Victorian period, but we are very much interested in Victorian poetry. Now let us discuss about what are the various characteristics of Victorian poetry, but let me at first discuss who are the great exponents of the Victorian poetry or Victorian literature in general. Matthew Arnold, the famous Victorian poet, of course, and Lord Tennyson. Yes, we were talking about the Victorian poets and other major authors of the Victorian period. Matthew Arnold, Lord Tennyson, and of course Robert Browning are some of the greatest poets of this particular period. And Algernon Charles Swinburne is also another famous poet. Charles Dickens, William Makepeace Thackeray are some of the famous fiction writers of this period, and Thomas Carlyle and of course William Morris are some of the famous non-fiction writers of this particular period, and Dante Gabriel Rossetti is another actually famous pre-Raphaelite poet during the Victorian period. We will discuss what is pre-Raphaelite brotherhood and what is pre-Raphaelite poetry later on. But let us at first talk about the various characteristics of the Victorian poetry. Some characteristic or features of the Victorian poetry move the poetry away from the Romantic era poets. Many critics says that the Victorian poetry is to some extent an extension of the Romantic poetry and also a rejection of various Romantic strands of poetry. And one such characteristic or feature that the Victorian poets actually inherited from the Romantic era is the Victorian interest in the medieval legends, myths and fables over the classical legends and mythology. For example, the story of the Gawain and the Green Knight, the mythology of the King Arthur, যেগুলো বিভিন্ন ইংলিশ বা ব্রিটিশ মাইথোলজি, যেগুলো আমরা মিডিয়েভাল ইংল্যান্ডের বিভিন্ন রোম্যান্স সাইকেলের মতো দেখতে পাই, সেইগুলো কিন্তু এই ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডে প্রথম রিসাইকেলড হতে আরম্ভ করে ভিক্টোরিয়ান পোয়েট্রির মধ্যে। বি ইট টেনিসন, বি ইট টু সাম এক্সটেন্ট ব্রাউনিং, তার অনেক ক্ষেত্রেই মিডিয়েভাল মাইথোলজি নিয়ে ইন্টারেস্ট হয়ে পড়ে, স্পেশালি টেনিসন in her poems like poems on Ulysses or on the Lady Shalott and other poems. And another very important characteristic of the Victorian period is the realistic and less idealized view of nature. Nature appears much more real in Victorian poetry, in stark contrast with the Romantic poetry. In Romantic poetry, we have seen in Wordsworth and Coleridge that nature appeared in its pantheistic form or in supernatural form. But in Victorian poetry, nature appears in much more realistic way. And there is a great change of emphasis on what types of common people and common language is emphasized in poetry. So whereas the Romantics is, in the case of the Romantics, it was the country rustic, for the Victorians it is more often the common urban dweller. The common people becomes the common urban dweller in case of the Victorian poetry. And one of the main defining features of the Victorian poetry is that it is pictorial. That is, it uses detailed imagery to convey thoughts and emotions. So Victorian poetry emphasizes a great deal on the images, on the imageries, and they used sensory elements to describe abstract ideas such as the struggle between the religion and the science. So they actually presented these sensory elements of literature in abstract forms. বিমূর্ত ভাবে the fight between the science and the religion তাকে depict করতে শুরু করে, and at the same time Victorian poetry is also characterized by religious skepticism which it inherited from the Romantic period, but at the same time there is also a great emphasis on the devotional poetry, and religion in the Victorian period becomes more of a personal experience expressed through poetry. অনেকটাই ব্যক্তিগত অভিব্যক্তিতে পরিণত হয় ভিক্টোরিয়ান পিরিয়ডে রিলিজিয়ন, স্পেশালি বিভিন্ন ভিক্টোরিয়ান পোয়েটের রিলিজিয়ন সম্পর্কে ওপিনিয়ন তাদের নিজস্ব ব্যক্তিগত, এর ফলে ন্যাচারালি তাদের পোয়েট্রিতে রিলিজিয়নের ভিউ পয়েন্টও এসেনশিয়ালি ভ্যারিড অ্যান্ড ডাইভার্সিফাইড. So as I was saying that here are some of the major characteristics of the Victorian poetry in tabular form, that refocus on the institutions of marriage, education, religion occurred. Strong sense of moral responsibility, Victorian poetry মধ্যে glorification of the scientific discovery, created practical questions about the value of poetry. At the same time, paradoxically, the era is also known for a renewal of religious furor, seen notably in poets like Christian Rossetti and Gerard Manley Hopkins. We can see various religious fervor. So these are some of the characteristics of the Victorian literature and poetry in general. Who are the Victorian poets? As I've already said, some of the famous Victorian women poets are Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Christina Rossetti, and the Bronte sisters. Because one of the most significant accomplishments of the Victorian era is the appearance of the female poets. সেই সময়ে অনেক নারীবাদী কবি বা নারী যারা কবিতা লিখতে আরম্ভ করে, কারণ নারীবাদ তো আইডিয়াটা অনেকটা পরে এসছে, আমরা প্রোটো ফেমিনিজম বলতে পারি, তো তাদের লেখা কিন্তু অনেক বেশি পরিমাণে পাবলিশ হতে আরম্ভ করে। এলিজাবেথ ব্যারেট ব্রাউনিং, আমাদের গবলিন মার্কেটের যে লেখিকা ক্রিস্টিনা রসেটি, অ্যান্ড দ্য ব্রন্টি সিস্টার্স। While speaking about the other male poets, other famous male poets like Alfred Tennyson, Matthew Arnold, Robert Browning's name also can be mentioned, and other among these poets, Alfred Tennyson perhaps enjoyed the greatest popularity because Browning was quite obscure in some of his poems. So let us now begin our which is important for our text, the context of the pre-Raphaelite brotherhood. Now, who are the pre-Raphaelites? Pre-Raphaelites were basically a secret society of the young artists and writers founded in England, London, in the year 1848. So, they at first opposed to the Royal Academies, the British Royal Academy, the Artists Royal Academy, the Royal Academy of the Arts. They opposed this Royal Academy of Arts' promotion of the ideal as exemplified in the work of the Raphael. Raphael was a Renaissance painter, an Italian Renaissance painter. তার পেন্টিং এর মধ্যে এক ধরনের আর্টিফিশিয়ালিটি, এক ধরনের আর্টিফিশিয়াল ডেপিকশন অফ নেচার অ্যান্ড হিউম্যান বিইং তার পেন্টিংয়ের মধ্যে থাকতো বলে বিশ্বাস করতো এই প্রি রাফেলাইটরা। তো এই প্রি রাফেলাইট ব্রাদারহুডের অনেকে মেম্বার ছিল, কারা কারা আমি সেটা পরে বলবো। তো তারা একটা ইট ওয়াজ বেসিক্যালি অ্যান অ্যাসোসিয়েশন অফ দ্য সিক্রেট রাইটার্স অ্যান্ড আর্টিস্টস। তারা এই রাফায়েলের পেন্টিংয়ের বিপক্ষে কথা বলতে আরম্ভ করলো এবং তারা বিশ্বাস করতো এই রয়্যাল একাডেমি অফ ইংল্যান্ডের যে ধরনের আর্ট তারা শেখায়, তারা এসেনশিয়ালি এই রাফায়েলের আর্টিফিশিয়ালিটিকেই প্রমোট করে। এই রাফায়েলের আগে প্রি রাফায়েলাইট, দ্যাট ইজ দিস পার্টিকুলার প্রিফিক্স প্রি অ্যাকচুয়ালি শোজ বিফোর রাফায়েল। রাফায়েলের আগের যে সমস্ত রাইটার, আগের যে সমস্ত আর্টিস্ট, তাদের যে লেখার ইনফ্লুয়েন্স কেমন করে এই লেখার মধ্যে পড়লো, সে কেমন তাদের আঁকার যে ইনফ্লুয়েন্স, পেন্টিংয়ের যে ইনফ্লুয়েন্স, লাইনের যে ইনফ্লুয়েন্স, সেটা কেমন করে পেন্টিংয়ের মধ্যে পড়লো তাই নিয়ে প্রমোট করতে এই প্রি রাফেলাইটরা আরম্ভ করে। হু আর দ্য প্রি রাফেলাইটস? ফর এক্সাম্পল ডিজি রসেটি, দান্তে গ্যাব্রিয়েল রসেটি, অফকোর্স উইলিয়াম হলম্যান হান্ট, রাস্কিন, Alfred Algernon Swinburne, Maurice, they are the famous pre-Raphaelite. This is important because Dante Gabriel Rossetti, D.G. Rossetti, was actually the elder brother of Christina Georgina Rossetti. এর ফলে ক্রিস্টিনা জর্জিনা রসেটির লেখার মধ্যেও এই প্রি রাফেলাইট ব্রাদারহুডের ইনফ্লুয়েন্স ভয়ঙ্করভাবে পড়েছিল। একটা নন আর্টিফিশিয়াল ক্রিয়েশন অফ নেচার অ্যান্ড আর্টে তারা এসেনশিয়ালি বিলিভ করতো, অ্যান্ড হেন্স দেয়ার ওয়ার্ক actually contains a kind of revolt against the triviality of the immensely popular genre of the painting of that time. It was a revolt against the contemporary era art. সেই সময়কার যে আর্ট যেটা রয়্যাল একাডেমি প্রমোট করতো তার বিপক্ষে দাঁড়িয়ে তারা কথা বলতে আরম্ভ করলো। And they were inspired by the theories of the John Ruskin, who urged the artists to go to nature. They believed in an art of serious subjects treated with maximum realism. But this nature is different from that of the romantic nature. And their principal themes were initially religious, but they also used subjects from literature and poetry, particularly those dealing with love and death, mythology. They also explored various modern social problems. So this group sought a return to the abundant detail, intense colors and complex compositions of Quattrocento era Italian art. What is Quattrocento era? from 1400 to 1499, before the advent of Raphael and Michelangelo and other Renaissance painters. So the Quattrocento era, 1400 to 1499, refers to the era before the advent of Michelangelo and Raphael and others. So these pre-Raphaelites rejected what they regarded as the mechanistic approach first adopted by the Mannerist artists who succeeded Raphael and Michelangelo. The artist who appears after the Michelangelo and Raphael, known as the Mannerist artists, according to these pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood people, they actually created an artificial and mechanistic approach to art. তারা আর্টটাকে অনেক মেকানিক্যাল ফর্মে দেখেছেন, ফলে তারা এই প্রি-রাফায়েলাইট বিফোর রাফায়েল পিরিয়ডে রিটার্ন করতে চায়। And this brotherhood believed the classical poses and elegant compositions of Raphael in particular had been a corrupting influence on the academic teaching of art, and hence the name pre-Raphaelite. They thought that the Raphael and the other artists and their artificial characteristic and elegant compositions created a form of artificiality, and it corrupted the academic teaching of art. In particular, the group objected to the influence of the famous English artist and one of the founders of the Royal Academy of Arts, Sir Joshua Reynolds, whom they called Sir Sloshua. Sloshis থেকে টার্মটা এসছে, জোশুয়া স্লোশুয়া কথাটা তারা বলছে। He was the founder of the English Royal Academy of Arts. তার যে পেন্টিং, তার যে আইডিয়া অফ আর্ট, তাই নিয়ে ক্রিটিসাইজ করতে আরম্ভ করে দান্তে গেব্রিয়েল রসেটি and his brotherhood known as the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. This is a famous painting of Proserpine, painted in 1874 by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. So, Pre-Raphaelites defined themselves as a reform movement, created a distinct name for their form of art, and they published a famous journal, a periodical known as the Jarn, which actually contains their ideas, which almost served as a manifesto of their ideas. The group's debates were recorded in the Pre-Raphaelite journal. So, the Pre-Raphaelites rejected not only the British Royal Academy's preference for the Victorian subjects and styles, but also its teaching and methods. Pre-Raphaelites espoused naturalism, as I have already said, the detailed study of the nature by the artist, and fidelity to its appearance, even when this risked the showing various forms of ugliness. যদিও মানে অনেক ক্ষেত্রেই তাদের আকার বা রেখার মধ্যে এক ধরনের আগলিনেস বেরিয়ে পড়তো, কিন্তু তাও তারা অলওয়েজ দে promoted the idea of the fidelity, fidelism to realism. So as a part of their reaction to the native impact of the industrialization, Pre-Raphaelites turned to the medieval period as their stylistic model. So there was also a return to the medievalism in case of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So what are the basic principles of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood? To have a genuine ideas to express, to study nature attentively, to sympathize with what is direct and serious, heartfelt in the previous art, and to defy all forms of conventions of art. So a return to the medieval atmosphere, to study the nature attentively, to express authenticity and genuineness in art, these become some of the hallmarks of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood are basically formed by 3 Royal Academy students, and they are D.G. Rossetti, who was a gifted poet as well as a great painter, William Holman Hunt, John Everett Milius, and they were later joined by William Michel Rossetti, James Collinson, Thomas Ulner, Abe G. Stephens, and others. So they promoted medievalism, as I have already discussed. They promoted truth to nature, and hence in their painting a kind of fleshliness, a kind of direct depiction of the human flesh. মানুষের চামড়াকে ডাইরেক্ট দেখানো, তার সম্পর্কে কোনো ধরনের প্রেজুডিস না রাখা. So fleshliness becomes a distinct and supreme end of poetic and pictorial art in case of these Pre-Raphaelites. And they always try to aver that poetic expression is greater than the poetic thought. So expression becomes much more important than the thought. and they always stick to the inference that the body is greater than the soul and the sound superior to sense, and that the poet properly to develop his poetic faculty must be an intellectual hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means the person who have both the male and the female qualities, the person who contains both the male and the female principles, to whom the very facts of the day and the night are lost in the wheel of aesthetic terminology. একজন কবি যখন মা হয়, একজন কবি যখন gave birth to his poetry, always desexualize himself or herself. সেরকমভাবে একজন আর্টিস্টও নিজেকে ডিসেক্সুয়ালাইজ করে, অলওয়েজ বিকামস এন ইন্টেলেকচুয়াল হার্মাফ্রোডাইট। তার মধ্যে পুরুষ এবং নারী উভয় গুণই থাকে। And in his art, fleshliness becomes very important. It becomes a distinct and supreme end of poetic and pictorial art, where the inference of the body becomes more important than the soul. So these are some of the features of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. And then we'll move into Christina Georgina Rossetti. So in this particular lecture today, I've discussed with you about the background of the Victorian poetry, background of the Victorian literature, some of the characteristics of the Victorian literature, and I've also introduced you with the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. In my next lecture, I'll move into Christina Georgina Rossetti. Who is Christina Georgina Rossetti? What are the basic principles of his form of art? And I'll then move into the historical context of the Goblin market, and then into the textual analysis of Goblin market. So thank you. This is just an introductory lecture on the Victorian literature, and of course on the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. What are the characteristics of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood that will help us to understand Goblin market? Because Christina Georgina Rossetti was closely associated with this Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. His own elder brother, Dante Gabriel Rossetti, who actually have done some of the greatest illustrations of the Goblin market. So they were inextricably interlinked with the, especially Rossetti was inextricably interlinked with the idea of the poetry and art propounded by the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So thank you. We'll move into the next lecture soon, which will be on the Goblin market.